whether or not he's guilty or innocent doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you like him.
Right.
People need to get that shit out of their head.
What is your assessment of Andrew Tate and what's happening with Andrew Tate?
So the issue is, I texted him a couple days ago, or no, actually last week. And the thing is, you know, when he got out of jail, I was going to ask, say, me and Justin Waller and a couple guys are going to go over there and try to interview him.
Right.
He's been nothing but nice to me.
Yeah.
He reached out to me way before any of this stuff happened.
Yeah.
He was going to come on my show. Same thing with Bradley and a bunch of other guys. He's been great. I listened to what he's saying. There were a couple of times initially, and he said this on Piers Morgan. He's like, I wish I'd used different words.
Right.
And I have you talked about this previously with Bradley, where it was, you have a responsibility as an influencer to say things a certain way, right? And there's a couple things where, I wish he'd said different. He admits to the same thing. But I was like, this is not misogynistic because he doesn't hate women.
Yeah.
None of this is hate towards women. What he wants is his opinion. If you are a feminist and you believe that women should be in the workplace and have the same amount of money, you have the right to believe that. However, if a woman wants to stay at home and take care of her kids, she's not setting your movement back, and she has the right to do that if she wants to choose a traditional lifestyle. I think what happened after that, though, is I believe the Romania, and I'm not going to speak to the charges one way or the other because we don't have all the evidence, and I haven't seen any evidence to be perfectly honest. Other than I've seen two of the girls who apparently accused him go out and get a fucking pizza box, walk back inside, and then get in an Uber and leave, and then claim later that they were held against their will. But now apparently they're not testifying for the prosecution anymore. But the main thing that I'm seeing is that this concept of, there's a couple things that bother me. Number one, I've had friends of mine who are politically progressive, liberals or feminists, and they're like, no, he's guilty. Do you see where he said this in this interview? And I'm like, no, because he said something you don't agree with does not make him convicted of a felony. Right. So because you don't like him, then in your mind, he's guilty. Yeah. That's a problem. And by the way, it's a problem for both sides. Like, I need to see the evidence. I believe the preponderance of right now shows me that he's probably not guilty. I want him to not be guilty, but I believe so because of evidence. There's some people out there that are just like, he's innocent no matter what they say, he's going to be innocent. No, the best way to do is to wait and see what happens. I don't think he's guilty. Now, here's what happens. What happened after that was he's made a ridiculous amount of money. Hustle University is probably pushing anywhere between 10 and 20 million a month is what he was collecting. And at that point, it's like this idea that you're trafficking women when you're making 20 million a month. For what? For fucking TikTok videos? Doesn't make any sense. So explain this to me. No explanation. And then you hold him for 6 months and you don't charge him with a crime. But for those of you who don't know, he's charged on the 20th. That is 9 days before the end of the 6 month period. And then afterwards, it's like, okay, now I don't understand what's going on. But what I do know is this, right? I want you to consider this. What would you be, if you think about somebody who's going to fight like Jake Paul or Logan Paul, they would probably juice up beforehand. If you were going to fight for $20 million, you'd be willing to cheat. Not you specifically, but a lot of,
I would.
Yeah, for sure. They'd take whatever. If you're Romania, would you be willing to cheat? Remember, they collected $385 million in crypto. That's not $385 million for the state of Nevada. That's $385 million for one of the poorest countries in Eastern Europe. What would you be willing to do to keep that money? How far would you be willing to go to keep that money?
I have a lot of crypto, right?
Yeah.
You can't. How do you take that?
They may have had like unlocked wallets or something like that. I mean,
they stole it.
I'm thinking, well, they went in and they absconded with like maybe hard drives and things like that. And if they weren't encrypted, then the only way that I can think that they would even know that there was 385 million is because they were unlocked hard drives. Does that make sense? And like, if you have that many transactions,
you have it on a hard drive.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they found. The point I'm trying to make is, let's look at this from a third-party standpoint. It took you 6 months to charge him.
Right.
The first time you went after him, he was clearly innocent. Those women were clearly not being held against their will. Like, there's no evidence to support that. Two of your witnesses have now turned to the defense. The judge has now said those witnesses' testimony has been coerced, and therefore they're throwing out so it's funny, the witnesses' testimony was accurate when they were testifying for the prosecution. Now that those same witnesses are testifying for the defense, they've been coerced. Okay, so that seems interesting that you're doing that. And what I believe, honestly, is I think Andrew there were some elements in there that were trying to bully him to stay. Andrew was like, I've converted to Islam. I'm just a hypothetical. I don't know this to be the case. I'm going to move me and my assets to Dubai. And when I do so, now you do not get to tax this wealth that I'm getting. I also, whatever means of wealth I was creating for myself here in Romania, I no longer need those casinos, etc., whatever those were. And I'm going to leave. And Romania is like, whoever the forces may be are like, no, you can't leave. If you leave, we're going to turn the cops on you. and it was a bluff. They played a game of chicken. And then what happened was, I don't think Romania understood the backlash that was going to happen when they charged him. And now that it's like sunk cost fallacy. This should have gone away. And they probably wish it had, but because it hasn't, now they have to go all the way with this.
But they don't. If they never charged him,
no, agreed. But no, once they charged him,
nobody would have. Well, if the thing, that was what, last week, right?
Yeah. No, but he would. So the original, it was a pre-indictment that said the lover boy method, the rape, and all that kind of stuff. It was already on there. Yeah. What happened is he wasn't formally charged, but the charges matched the original document. So we knew those things were going to come. And Andrew even said it in his interview with Patrick Bet-David about 2 weeks ago. He stated, "I think I am going to be charged. They can't go 6 months and not charge me with anything." I think Romania really, like, it's almost like your girlfriend picking a fight. Now she knows she's wrong, and she kind of wishes, like, it's not that big of a deal, but you're not going to let it go because you lied about me. So now we're going to take this to the end. I think Romania has got themselves in a heap of shit. And my biggest fear is they're going to go above and beyond to get this conviction and say whatever they got to say to get it. And that's my only issue. Because if that's not the case, show me the fucking evidence. And you haven't shown me any.
Well, they're not going to show nothing if they have evidence. They're going to save that for trial.
Well, the problem is the defense gets discovery. And if you're going to charge someone with 20, so here's one of the other things.
But keep in mind this too, like, I've been on that side.
Yeah.
If they're getting discovery, they're not going to tell the public.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think Andrew would, though. You don't think Andrew would?
It wouldn't be smart.
I agree that it wouldn't be smart, but it might not be smart for him to go on BBC and PBDs also. You know what I'm saying?
I think that was fine. He can handle himself well.
He can.
So I don't think he's the type of person that can take the stand, no problem.
Agreed.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. This is my thing. I like him.
Yeah.
From what I observe of him, I like him. I resonate with him. I fuck with him hard.
Yeah.
I love my favorite social media moment of his is him smashing Pierce at chess.
Yeah.
Because I've been a chess player. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I feel so many parallels between he and I, you know. I just never, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit nicer with girls. I guess. But I don't have.
No, they love him.
He
dude.
seemed nice too, though.
The girls love him.
Yeah.
You know how many girls have hit me up because they know I know him, trying to get at him? Like someday I'll show I'm not going to show these, but like I'll have groups of girls and they'll be like, "Hey, Andrew," and I'll send it to Andrew, and he'll like love the fucking video. I used to do that to him all before he even got locked up. I would send him these videos because these girls were like wanting to send him stuff. And my whole thing is whether or not he's guilty or innocent doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you like him. People need to get that shit out of their head.
Yeah, and let's reserve judgment till you
let
it play out.
Exactly.
You know?